Hey, what's up everyone? Thank you for joining me for another YouTube video discussion. As you can see, I am scruffy as all get out. I have not really had a chance to shave here lately. Been occupied with quite a bit of stuff. And I'm going to just take care of that at some point, I guess. But got a lot of stuff to talk about, and there's no real one particular topic in this. So, I'm probably going to jump around between different subjects and topics and stuff like that. So hopefully you will join me and we'll have a good discussion. And as I always like to do, you guys are welcome to put your thoughts in the comments down below about anything that we talk about in this video today. Love to hear what you guys have to say. So without further ado, let's start getting into the various topics that I've been hearing throughout the week and putting my 2 cents down on it. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is the whole purpose of me even wanting to do a video. And that is the idea, sorry, while I adjust, the whole idea of mini classics and stuff like that. I understand their purpose, so I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to just flat out 100% be all against them. And be all like, well, we need to stop making NES classics and SNES classics and stuff like that. All I'm stating is a concern that we need to stop before it gets out of hand. Because I'm hearing stuff about people like, oh, there's going to be a Game Boy Classic and an N64 Classic and games that we want to see for that. And for me, it's the kind of thing that it needs to stop because I don't want it to get out of control. You know, because to me, it just seems like it's easier just to release stuff on Virtual Console like you did back in the day. You know, on the Wii, the Wii U, and stuff like that. Just come out with these games again. Like, I could have given you the money for Star Fox 2 to play it on my Switch. I don't want to feel compelled to go off and spend however much money it is to get a SNES Classic just to play Star Fox 2 when half the games that are on there I already have on my Super Nintendo, so I don't have a need for it. And I understand, again, the need for it. I'm not dissing it at all. I'm not dismissing it and saying that it's completely 100% irrelevant, because I understand that there is an audience out there, people who aren't collectors like myself, that don't have a Super Nintendo already and remember these games from their childhood or something, and they want to play them again, or maybe share them with their children and start a new generation of Nintendo fans and stuff. But all I'm saying is that if we just had an NES Classic, and now we have a Super Nintendo Classic, and then before we know it, there's like, oh, now there's going to be this, and where does it stop? Do we stop at like the Wii Classic? You know, where do we stop with this when we say, you know what, that's enough? You've come out with like 7 consoles in a year. That's enough. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just my concern. I don't want it to get too out of control, because that was sort of the problem with a lot of these other games, like Assassin's Creed, where they're coming out with like a yearly release to the point it's like, you know what, they don't have the same quality anymore. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from. I worry that if they start coming out with these systems every year and stuff like that, these classic throwback systems or whatever, that's going to become stale. I mean, that's just how I feel now when I look at like the Genesis thing that they sell. I think it's like at Walmart's and Family Dollars and stuff like that. It's basically like a flashback Genesis system that has all these things built in, but they can also hold Genesis games. And I'm just like, okay, but if they, you know, come out with another one, all these Genesis emulators and stuff like that, and it gets to the point to where we just start seeing really cheaply made, cheaply done systems for the sake of just making money. And I don't want it to come to that. I don't want it to where these games are going to start being soured because people just want to make a quick buck. You know what I'm saying? That's just my 2 cents, of course. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is something that I heard, that Sega is getting back into the market supposedly with this thing called Spartan. I watched some stuff on it, some YouTube videos on it and stuff like that, and the system looks okay, I guess. The controller could be a little bit better, and I think it could look a little bit smoother myself. But considering the fact that it's a fan-made project and they're talking about this, that, and the other, I like what it looks like it's going to do from a technical standpoint, but I just don't want it to be like what the Atari the new Atari system that I hear is going to be, and that is really just kind of like a classic system that has just like Dreamcast and Saturn games and all these other like classic systems with the possibility of throwing in like Android-ish. Like I want it to be a full-blown comeback for Sega if they do this. But I like this. I like the prospect of it. I mean, it's something that I've talked about before on this channel. I like the idea of Sega getting back into it because, truthfully, they're one of those kind of companies where they have, my utmost respect for their franchises. I'd love to play another Echo the Dolphin. I'd love to play another Space Channel 5 if they want to continue with that. I mean, this is stuff that I've talked about in the past. I'm not going to go into it here. But I do like their franchises. And for the most part, their systems, like even with the Saturn, I found out that the Saturn was going to run Shenmue. And that should tell you something right there about how powerful the Saturn actually was. But a lot of these systems, like the Saturn and the Dreamcast, they were very powerful, very capable systems that they just had their difficulties with programming and stuff like that. So they were very capable systems that Sega just did not market well and made it difficult to program and made some poor decisions with that really sort of cost them. Because I really do think that the Dreamcast could have stood up to like the likes of the Xbox and the PS2 and stuff if they wanted to, but they made poor financial decisions. So hopefully this time, if they do come back, and that's an if, they make better decisions. Okay. The next thing that I want to talk about is Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. And I feel like it's easier to do all this as one long video rather than come out with 3 or 4 or 5 other videos. You know what I'm saying? Pocket Camp is okay. It's actually better than what I thought it was going to be because I was worried that they were going to make a full-blown Animal Crossing game, and it's not. It's really kind of like if you took the camping DLC that came out for New Leaf and made it Happy Home Designer and mixed them together. It's basically what it is. It's a very watered-down version of Animal Crossing that gives a lot of prospects because usually the full-blown game is right behind it. Good example is Mario Run. We got Mario Run, and then we're now literally here within a few hours, tomorrow, going to get a brand new Animal Crossing game. We're going to get a brand new Mario game, I'm sorry. So the prospect of this coming out leads me to believe that, well, this might possibly connect to a Animal Crossing on the Switch coming out in 2018. And that would be nice, to get a full-blown Animal Crossing game on a console again, since we didn't get one for the Wii U. So it'd be nice to get a full-blown Animal Crossing game again. And it's nice that they didn't go the route of making it a full-blown game. Because that was my concern with it. And that's my concern with them talking about they're going to make a Zelda game. If they are going to bring a Zelda game to mobiles, it does not need to be a full-blown Zelda game. Please don't do that. Make it something that's watered down and kind of just like a really cheap version of that. And this is something that I'll probably talk about in another video because I feel like there's a lot of stuff to talk about with Pocket Camp. But probably not. I mean, you can watch the video and get a good idea of it. It's pretty much what I expected and what I was kind of hoping would come from Animal Crossing Mobile. Okay, so I actually just heard a little bit ago that Microsoft thinks that single-player campaigns are complicated. No, they're not. It's real simple. You don't add multiplayer. Simple. Remember the original Assassin's Creed game? Simple. No multiplayer. No one-on-one versus. No team cooperative. None of that. Just a simple story-driven campaign. It doesn't have to be the most marvelous story out there. It doesn't have to be this big, full-blown, mind-blowing, epic story that has twists and turns everywhere. It doesn't even have to be full-blown, like, high-resolution graphics. I know that's what people out there want. Some gamers want that. But for me, I just want a fun experience. I want a Zelda Breath of the Wild. I want a Horizon Zero Dawn. I want those kind of games. And, I'm probably about to go and pick up, probably going to go and download it here soon, Hidden Agenda that just came out. because that stuff to me is more interesting. The fact of like, hey, I can play it with my phone, and I can play it with my wife, and we can make decisions together, and that stuff is more interesting to me than having a full-blown like, let's just play Destiny 2 and just shoot stuff for hours. You know what that does, right? If all you do is you make it online multiplayer focused and you don't have a rich campaign to keep people coming back, you start to drop users, Destiny. Looking at you, because that's exactly what I've been hearing lately, is that you've dropped about, what, 500,000, 2 million something, I don't remember the exact number, but you've dropped users since it launched because, hey, there's nothing in Destiny. You don't have a shiny, you don't have a campaign to keep people coming back. So yeah, I just think that it would make a ton more sense to focus on single player. And granted, I know it's not going to go away, and I understand the reasons why you say it's complicated, but it's not complicated. You know why it's not complicated? Mario Odyssey. Completely single-player campaign. There's no online that I can see. Nothing that I've heard about. Breath of the Wild. Completely single-player. Not that hard. Just do it. Sounds like you're just coming out with excuses to keep coming out with multiplayer games. And how's that been working out for you so far, Microsoft? Where are you at in the charts? Are you, the number one selling console? No, I don't think you are. So maybe you should turn around and you should think again about how complicated single-player games are, because to me, they're not that complicated. You just come out with them. You release something with a story to give people a purpose to play. Because that's what I come back to. That's the reason why I pick up a game. Is for its story. I don't really play online that much. I don't really have a lot of time for it because I'm playing so many other games. So I don't really have time to sit down and fool around with hundreds of hours of online multiplayer when I could just be playing a game that gives me a single-player experience that I can play whenever I want. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for me, guys. I did have one more topic that I wanted to talk about, but I'll probably save that for another video next week so I can think about it a little bit more and maybe have it better scripted. Because this was just kind of an impromptu video. I was just kind of sitting down waiting for my lunch to cook. It's done now. So I will probably go eat that, watch something on Netflix, and just enjoy the rest of my day. And I hope that you guys do the same, that you enjoy the rest of your day. You're welcome to like this video if you did watch it this far. Let me know that you watched it this far and that you also enjoyed the content. Feel free to subscribe if you like, because I do try to make videos very often, even if they have to be little impromptu videos like this. And yeah, I just appreciate all the support I can get. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Have yourself a good one, and I'll see you next time.